This is going to be your guide to the new PALs in the Palworld Sakurajima update, so let's head on over to the PAL deck and see what new PALs there are. So we go from number 113 to 126. I haven't found the last one because it's an outer space PAL called Xenogard, and those are tricky and annoying to get. And Selyne is also one of these outer space PALs, but you can't find it anywhere on the map. That's because it's only going to be from a Meteor event. And it can only be found in a Meteor event that takes place on the new island, so it's really annoying to get. Now, in my experience, Meteor events are very rare, and they also share the same event slot as the supply drop. So if you see supply drop incoming, well, that means it could have been a Meteor event and you missed it. Now, you can roll back the save and then it re-rolls if it's a Meteor event or a supply drop, but that gets kind of complicated on the timing. Now, when one of them lands, you can see it on the map from anywhere on the map. So this one dropped a couple minutes ago while I was setting up the video. And that also kind of gets into some weird manipulations you can kind of do with them, because you only get one of these events every couple of hours, but they can also happen while you're in your base. So if you're just kind of working, it'll be like, oh, supply drop or meteor raid or something, and then you can see it on the map and then go towards it. But what I did was I AFK'd all night, and then I woke up and two of them were just chilling there. So they can also hold for an extended period of time, but it's still like really rare if you only get two over the course of an entire night. Also, they don't spawn on starter islands, and that kind of creates a manipulation. So if you've been working on a starter island base or you've been AFK, be very careful about where you teleport to initially, because you might notice, like, after playing for a while, like, oh, I'm going to leave my base, I'm going to go somewhere, and then the second you leave, the second you teleport, you get the announcement that there's a supply drop or something. So if you have like one stored up, it'll trigger at the next possible time. Which means if you need Selyne, you want to teleport to Sakurajima, but if you want Xenogard or Xenovader, that means you want to teleport anywhere else on the mainland, and then just hope for the RNG. Also, a raid event can get stored inside of a dungeon, so if you spend a lot of time in dungeons or you're just running around through dungeons, when you exit, it might trigger one of those. But I haven't really seen like any way of like speeding up or forcing it. It's just crazy RNG, and they are crazy rare. That takes care of 3 of the new PALs. Fortunately, a lot of them are really easy to find once you've seen them and then you get the habitat. So Krojiro actually spawns in a lot of the starting areas, which means you have a new water pal to be friends with very early on. Then we have Lolu, which can be found on the new island in a pretty decent range. Shroomer and Shroomer Noct can be found in the mushroom biome at their respective times, so same location, day and night for each of those. Kickit is an armadillo pal that can be found on the beaches of Sakurajima Island at day and night. Now, Sootseer is probably a PAL that a lot of people are going to struggle with because it only appears at night, and it only appears in a really small region. So unless you happen to be in this area at night and one of them spawns, you're never going to see it. This is just going to be empty. Also, like a lot of the new PALs, they can be dungeon spawns on Sakurajima, but Sootseer is really rare. It took me like 20 forced respawns to make it appear. Prickster can be found on the North Beach. You don't need a saddle for it, you just go leap stance. So, does it happen inside base? Nope, there we go. Alright. You get a nice little bump, which actually could be really cool in the early game, or maybe even like speed running, or not even speed running, but like just to get to higher areas on the map where it's like, oh, instead of going around this mountain or not having enough stamina to climb up, you can get that extra boost. Lolu is actually a really good base pal because it increases the growth rate of crops. So I'm really interested in seeing like how the new breeding charts come out, because if you can breed this pal and get access to it before like level 45 plus for the DLC, it might actually be pretty helpful. Now, Shroomer is actually a homie. I thought it was gonna have farming and then it could like farm mushrooms for you, but it actually decreases sanity while at the base. 2 planting, 2 gathering. So yeah, like actually a useful farming pal that makes everyone not go crazy. And depending on your food and output, you might be able to get away with like a faster work speed, which could overall be like a net huge benefit for your base. Especially if that partner skill gets like level 4 or 5 or something. Kickit decreases the weight of crude oil and has mining level 1. I don't really see too much use for him. Sootseer is actually pretty good because it digs up bones at the ranch, so automatic bone production. Prickster's Scorpion Sonar seems useless. I tried testing it multiple times. Now I only had like a level 1, so maybe at level 5 it scans more. But it like lets you find the dungeon's exit, and I couldn't find it after using him, so I guess skill issue. Knocklem, we have a big golem boss pal that can't be found on the map except when you just look at the map. So level 55, it's not a legendary, but still a really formidable pal. Increased attack defense, though, while activated, could make it a good PAL to just kind of like send out and stall with, and maybe it actually has like damage and stuff. Might be useful in PvP. It's just like a big PAL that gets in the way and doesn't die. So we'll see about that. Now here's where the game changes. Yakumo, when fighting together, becomes easier to encounter PALs with the same passive skill as this PAL. That's actually really cool that a partner skill synergizes with breeding. So you want to get the Yakumo farm going as early as possible. That way you might be able to save some time breeding by encountering PALs and maybe just getting like crazy RNG, or if you're just spam catching. You get the rocket launcher, you get some legendary spheres, you go pew 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 pew, and then breeding. And also like if Yakumo is kind of in the middle, maybe even earlier on in the breeding chain, like, oh, just breed 2 PALs with your really good passives, and then you get a Yakumo that's all 4, and then you catch everything, and it becomes a lot easier. Like, this could get crazy. This makes me want Palworld to be some kind of actual MMO, or have like chained multiplayer servers together, where instead of like just playing with friends, or weird official multiplayer server that's unfortunately filled with hackers, like that, like this is your competitive boy. That's crazy. Also, you can find him in the center of the island where all the cherry trees are, so that's pretty cool. Doggin, same area. So it effectively has teleport, moves to the closest base, can't be used in dungeons or areas like you can't immediately leave out of. Doesn't really seem to do much else, but alright. Blazamut can be ridden, runs faster over sand. Just check the technology to find these new PAL saddles, because some of them actually scale down, like, oh, level 50 plus DLC, nah, level 46 for the Shroomer saddle. Blazamut saddle's level 22, which actually mixes up the game, because you can find it in earlier areas. So you want to catch them here, get the level 22 saddle, and then you can just blitz the desert. That's actually tech. That's hype. Mimog can be found everywhere where chests are found except for the starting areas. You kind of want to hunt these down and farm them because they drop dog coins, but that's not the only way of getting dog coins. And then we have Xenovader. Actually, we also didn't show this guy. So yeah, like, doesn't really do too much. Has a passive that can maybe open a chest depending on the skill level. And then we have Xenovader and Xenogard. You also get more meteorite fragments, so like if you're in base and then a meteorite drops, just pull out your Xenovader, and just while it's on team, it's easier to get meteorite fragments, and it can also drop them. That's cool. Yeah, unlucky. I didn't get a chance to see Xenogard before the embargo lifted, so I'm on the Game Rant article, and he's a big boy, so can be ridden. That's probably the one thing I'm missing. I think it's level 51. Meteorite fragments and pure quartz, and it's like an alpha fight, so good luck, have fun getting that. And it's a dragon type PAL, so not just like all dark types from space. Really cool. Gat Terra is just the same thing, but ground type, and can be found on the South Beach. Grillet, finally in the game, can be found where Yakumo and Doggin are. Applies fire damage, players attack while mounted. It's also weird how like some passives are like super crazy, super new, like Yakumo's, and then others are just what we already have, where it's like, well, you can also use Pyren. So unless for some reason Grillet has like more damage or like something else in the data mine, like, yeah, I guess you just got, oh dude, I didn't notice the spikes on the back. I never noticed Chillet spikes on the back. Oh, this is a cool dude. We have Bushi Noct, which is Brandish Blade, but dark type, drops things, habitat, nighttime, island. Kattress Ignis, habitat unknown. Wixen Noct can be found on the beaches at night. So why is like it easier to get Wixen Noct than Kattress Ignis? Well, Kattress Ignis, much like Kattress, gonna be found in dungeons. So Sakurajima dungeon, let's go. We also have your boy Quivern getting a grass subspecies. I don't know what this means. Enhances grass attacks while mounted. Alright, and you can just kind of find it wherever. It's actually like super common. Helzephyr Lux, also one of the new PALs, so you can find that on the North Beach. Looks cool. And then Menasting Tera, so a pseudo-legendary PAL that's going to be found in the overworld on one of the beaches. There we go, North Beach, up there. Increases player defense, and electric PALs drop more items when defeated. There might be some kind of farm in there. And of course, Blazamut Ryu. I haven't done that raid yet. I gotta do that raid now. Alright, so I guess this oil refining base is just going to get sacrificed. Might as well break everything down and get the materials back. Okay, so we have a problem. I didn't make an ice dumpstering team for Blazamut Ryu. Now that could also go really bad because like fire beats ice, and Blazamut Ryu probably has some fire attacks in, so I don't know the best way of going about it. So, like, I think just throwing out 20 Sibilix, unless Blazamut Ryu gets one shot, they would actually melt, and then weird things would happen. So, I mean, put a couple out there, because at least Jet Dragon's going to tank. And I also have to ruin all this nice organization I have, because, yeah, a lot of these pals are mostly about synergy as well, and not just raw power, except for the Anubis. Like, I want to know what happens if the Guardian of Desert level 5 just doesn't die. Let's go, and at least now we have, like, the minigun and just a lot stronger stuff, so... I'm about to say, do we just drill him? Nah, it doesn't look that way. Also, like, we need to play properly, or we could just die. And there's just a lot, like, there's just too much crazy stuff for me to see or keep up with. Something hit us. Hopefully all my pals don't get immediately incapacitated, even though it seems that way. I didn't get any backup pals for this. Oh wait, I could do something cheeky if I really wanted to make a Ryu farming, Blazamut Ryu farming thing. You can have all Jet Dragons, and then you just teach them ice moves. And then they hopefully stay alive a bit longer. Yeah, and everyone's gonna be telling me how to beat Blazamut Ryu, even though I just, like, did a blind shot before the DLC even released. So with Blazamut Ryu being a fire and dragon type, ice actually isn't super effective damage, so you want to go water, because this isn't Pokemon. It's going to take super effective damage from water despite being fire dragon. Now it transitions into an electric phase, which makes things even more complicated, so then you need ground type pals. And then it gets really interesting because Azure Robe, Elphadran Aqua, Jormuntide, and Relaxaurus are dragon water pals. So they have, like, the extra advantage from resisting dragon hits and resisting fire type hits. So that's actually what you want to be building your Blazamut Ryu team around. Real cool. But that's a guide for a later time. And that's everything about the new pals. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.